My brothers and sisters, have you ever noticed how some people ask questions, yet nothing in their lives ever changes after hearing the answer? They listen, they nod, they debate, they argue, but their hearts remain exactly where they were before. They don't ask to learn, they ask to challenge. They don't ask to grow, they ask to justify what they already want to do. Their tongues are searching for answers, but their hearts have already made a decision. And this is something we must understand very carefully. Not every question is innocent. Some questions are asked sincerely, with humility and a desire for guidance, but others are asked as a shield, a delay, or an excuse to avoid obedience. The danger is not in asking, the danger is in why you are asking. Because Allah does not respond to intelligence alone, He responds to sincerity. And today, this reminder may protect your faith, your peace, and your heart. Not every question is asked to find guidance or to become closer to Allah. Some questions are asked because a person wants to escape responsibility, avoid change, or delay obedience. A sincere question comes from a heart that is soft and humble, a heart that is willing to accept the truth even if it is difficult. But an insincere question comes from ego. It sounds intelligent, but inside it is stubborn. Allah does not judge the beauty of your words or the cleverness of your question. He looks at the intention hidden inside your heart. History teaches us that there were people who stood in front of prophets and asked questions, not because they wanted to follow the truth, but because they were searching for reasons to reject it. Their mouths were asking, but their hearts were already closed. This is why before asking any question, we must pause and be honest with ourselves and ask, am I truly seeking guidance or am I only looking for comfort? Because real truth does not always feel easy. It challenges habits, corrects behavior, and demands change. And not every soul is ready to face that reality. My brothers and sisters, there is a big difference between asking a question to learn and asking a question to feel superior. A sincere person asks with humility, saying in their heart, teach me, guide me, help me understand. But an arrogant person asks with resistance, saying silently, convince me if you can. This type of question is not looking for guidance, it is looking for control. The danger of such questions is that they slowly harden the heart. A person begins to feel that they are above correction, above advice, and above submission. This is why Allah warns us about arrogance, because it blocks guidance completely. Many people do not reject faith openly. Instead, they hide behind endless questioning. They ask again and again, not because answers are missing, but because humility is missing. Even when clear answers are given, their hearts refuse to accept them. True knowledge does not come from debating everything. It comes from lowering yourself before Allah. The moment a person believes they must understand everything before they obey, arrogance quietly enters the heart. And when arrogance enters, guidance leaves. This is why the most guided people are often the most humble, not the most argumentative. My brothers and sisters, one of the subtle tricks that stops people from growing is over-questioning. Asking questions is not wrong, but when questioning becomes constant, it can quietly replace action. Some people keep asking why, how, and what if, not because they want to obey, but because they want to delay obedience. While they are busy questioning, time passes, opportunities are lost, and change never happens. Islam was not sent to confuse us, it was sent to guide us. Allah gave us clear commands so that we may act, not remain stuck in endless thinking. Many people believe they must understand every detail before they take a single step forward, but faith does not work like that. Faith grows when you act first, even with limited understanding, and then clarity follows. When a person keeps questioning without practicing, their heart becomes tired, their motivation weakens, and their connection with Allah slowly fades. Obedience strengthens belief, but constant debate weakens it. This is why sometimes the most peaceful believers are not those who ask the most questions, but those who trust Allah enough to act on what they already know. My brothers and sisters, this is a reality we must understand very carefully, especially in a time where information is everywhere and wisdom is rare, because not every question that sounds deep is sincere, and not every question that appears intellectual is meant to guide the heart. Some questions are carefully shaped, emotionally loaded, and repeatedly asked with one hidden purpose: to create doubt, weaken certainty, and slowly shake faith, not only in the one asking, but also in everyone who listens. These questions are often asked publicly and confidently, giving the impression of courage or intelligence, but inside they are rooted in resistance, not sincerity. The person may say, "I'm just asking," yet their heart has already decided not to submit. When answers are given, they do not reflect, they resist. When clarity is offered, they do not soften, they argue. When guidance challenges their lifestyle, desires, or ego, discomfort turns into rejection. They may say, "This doesn't make sense," when what they truly mean is, "This doesn't suit me." Over time, this pattern of questioning does something dangerous. It creates restlessness in the heart. The person becomes mentally exhausted, spiritually dry, and emotionally unsettled, because the heart was never created to live in constant doubt. It was created to find peace through trust in Allah. When someone constantly exposes themselves to debates, arguments, and faith-shaking conversations, prayer begins to feel heavy, worship loses its sweetness, gratitude fades, and certainty weakens. The soul becomes tired, not because faith is weak, but because it is being attacked without protection. This is why Islam teaches wisdom, not just knowledge. Not every discussion deserves your presence, not every argument deserves your response, and not every question deserves a platform. Protecting your faith is not ignorance, and choosing peace over pointless debate is not weakness. Even the prophets walked away from certain conversations when they realized that hearts were sealed, because guidance cannot be forced into a soul that enjoys resistance. Another danger is that these questions rarely harm only the one asking them. They often harm others who hear them, especially those who are young in faith, emotionally vulnerable, or already struggling silently. A single careless question, repeated again and again, can disturb a heart that was once content and calm. This is why responsibility in speech matters deeply in Islam. Not everything that can be asked should be asked publicly, and not every doubt deserves attention. Wisdom is knowing when engagement will bring benefit and when silence will bring protection. Your responsibility is not to satisfy every skeptic or win every debate. Your responsibility is to guard your iman, nourish it through obedience, strengthen it through worship, and protect it from unnecessary confusion. If a question pulls you away from prayer, patience, humility, and inner peace, then pause and ask yourself honestly, is this question bringing me closer to Allah, or is it slowly pulling my heart away? Because true guidance brings peace even when it corrects you, while harmful questioning brings anxiety even when it sounds clever. Not every question opens a door to knowledge. Some are distractions designed to pull the heart away from certainty, trust, and submission. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest forms of wisdom Allah gives to a believer is not the ability to speak beautifully, but the ability to remain silent at the right time. Because not every question deserves an answer, and not every voice deserves your energy. We live in a world that pressures you to respond to everything, explain everything, and defend yourself constantly, as if silence means weakness. But Islam teaches us the opposite, that silence, when chosen wisely, is strength. Some questions are not asked to understand you, they are asked to drain you. Some are not meant to open a door to guidance, They are meant to pull you into endless debate, emotional exhaustion, and spiritual distraction. When you answer such questions, you don't bring clarity, you lose peace over time. Constantly engaging with insincere questioning begins to change a person internally. The heart becomes restless, the mind becomes overworked, and the soul becomes tired. You begin to feel irritated, defensive, and spiritually heavy, not because you are wrong, but because you are fighting battles that were never meant to be fought. Islam does not ask you to convince every skeptic or satisfy every critic. Even the most truthful people who ever walked this earth were not believed by everyone, and they were not commanded to chase acceptance. They were commanded to convey with wisdom and then trust Allah with the outcome. There is a huge difference between sincere dialogue and pointless argument. Sincere dialogue leaves you calm, reflective, and closer to Allah, even if you disagree. Pointless argument leaves you angry, confused, and spiritually distant, even if you win. This is why the believer must learn discernment, the ability to sense when a conversation will nourish the heart and when it will poison it. Some people are not looking for light, they are looking for reaction. They ask questions not because they are confused, but because they enjoy watching others struggle to answer. And when you give them your attention, they take something precious from you, your inner peace. Silence in such moments is not surrender. It is self-respect. It is protection. It is an act of trust in Allah. When you choose not to answer, you are not saying, I have no response. You are saying, this conversation is not worth my soul. There are questions that Allah answers with clarity, and there are questions He answers with silence, and both are forms of mercy. Even Allah does not explain everything to us, not because He cannot, but because we cannot handle everything. Some knowledge at certain stages would confuse us, not guide us. This teaches us a powerful lesson. Sometimes withholding an answer is wiser than giving one. When a believer understands this, they stop feeling guilty for not responding to every challenge. They stop feeling pressured to prove their faith to everyone. They stop measuring their worth by how well they argue. Instead, they focus on what actually matters, their relationship with Allah. The heart that is constantly defending itself has little energy left for worship. The tongue that is always arguing has little sweetness left for remembrance. The mind that is always debating has little space left for reflection. This is why wisdom is learning when to step back, when to remain quiet, and when to protect your iman like something fragile and precious. You are not required to expose your heart to every doubt that passes by. You are not obligated to sit in every debate. You are not weak for choosing peace. In fact, many times, silence is the loudest statement of faith. It shows that you trust Allah enough to let Him deal with hearts. It shows that you value your iman more than your ego. It shows maturity, not fear. And when you learn this lesson, something beautiful happens. Your faith becomes lighter, your worship becomes sweeter, and your heart becomes calmer. You stop reacting to every voice and start listening more deeply to the one voice that truly matters. Because guidance does not come from winning arguments. It comes from sincerity, humility, and trust in Allah. And sometimes the most powerful answer a believer can give is silence. My brothers and sisters, there is a type of question that Allah loves, and there is a type of question that quietly destroys the heart. And the difference between the two is not intelligence, education, or confidence. It is sincerity. A true question does not make you arrogant, it humbles you. It does not make you restless, it brings calm. It does not push you away from worship, it pulls you closer to Allah. A sincere question comes from a heart that feels its weakness and admits its need for guidance. It says, Ya Allah, I don't understand, but I trust you. And that trust itself opens doors that logic alone never could. When a believer asks sincerely, even confusion becomes a form of worship because it is wrapped in humility. But when questions are asked without sincerity, something dangerous begins to happen inside the soul. The heart becomes heavy, not because answers are missing, but because trust is missing. The person begins to feel distant from prayer, disconnected from remembrance, and irritated by reminders. Slowly, without realizing it, questions stop being a bridge to guidance and start becoming walls between the heart and Allah. This is one of the greatest traps when a person thinks they are searching for truth, but in reality, they are feeding doubt. True questions soften the heart. False questioning hardens it. True questions increase reliance on Allah. Harmful questioning increases reliance on ego. A sincere seeker asks, listens, reflects, and then acts. Even if the answer challenges them. An insincere seeker asks, listens selectively, argues internally, and delays change. Over time, this delay creates spiritual numbness. The person may still believe, but belief loses warmth. Worship becomes routine. Dua feels empty. The soul feels tired, even though the body may be fine. This exhaustion does not come from faith. It comes from fighting faith internally. Psychology teaches us that the mind looks for consistency. When actions do not match beliefs, tension is created inside the person. Islam already warned us about this long ago. When a person knows the truth but resists acting upon it, the heart experiences discomfort, and instead of correcting behavior, many choose to question the truth itself to reduce that discomfort. This is why harmful questioning feels endless, because it is not looking for resolution. It is looking for relief from responsibility. But relief never comes that way. Peace does not come from reshaping the truth to fit our desires. It comes from reshaping ourselves to align with the truth. True questions do the opposite. They push a person toward growth. They lead to repentance, patience, and submission. They may begin with confusion, but they end with clarity. They may start with discomfort, but they result in peace. This is why sincere questions always bring a person closer to Allah, not further away. They increase prayer, not laziness. They increase humility, not pride. They increase gratitude, not complaint. Another sign of a true question is what happens after the answer is received. If the answer brings you closer to obedience, even slowly, that question was sincere. But if the answer makes you more resistant, more argumentative, and more distant from worship, then the issue was never the answer, it was the intention. Allah does not misguide a sincere seeker. This is a promise. But Allah may leave a person wondering if they enjoy questioning more than submitting. And wondering feels like intelligence at first, but emptiness follows soon after. Many people today are not struggling with disbelief. They are struggling with overload. They expose their hearts to too many doubts, too many opinions, too many arguments, and too little remembrance. The heart becomes crowded, noisy, and tired. In that noise, faith feels weak, not because it is fragile, but because it is being suffocated. A sincere question creates space in the heart. Harmful questioning fills it with chaos. This is why protecting the heart matters. You must be honest with yourself and ask, does this question make me want to pray more or less? Does it make me trust Allah more, or does it make me suspicious of everything? Does it soften my heart, or does it make me restless? Because Allah placed signs inside us. He gave the heart a sense of direction. When a question is sincere, the heart feels lighter after asking it, even before the answer arrives. But when a question is insincere, the heart feels heavier the more it is repeated. Another danger of harmful questioning is that it slowly removes the sweetness of certainty. A person may still say they believe, but belief feels cold. They overthink everything, struggle to feel peace, and constantly feel unsatisfied. This dissatisfaction is not intellectual, it is spiritual. The soul was created to submit, not to dominate everything with logic. Logic has its place, but it was never meant to replace trust. True questions respect this balance. They use the mind, but they bow the heart. They seek understanding, but they do not demand control. They ask, Ya Allah, help me understand, not Ya Allah, explain yourself to me. That difference is everything. And when a believer reaches this level of sincerity, something beautiful happens. Even unanswered questions stop disturbing them. Even mysteries become sources of comfort because they trust that Allah knows what they do not. They stop chasing certainty in arguments and start finding it in worship. They stop looking for peace in explanations and start finding it in remembrance. This is the sign of a mature believer, not someone who has no questions, but someone whose questions never pull them away from Allah. So my brothers and sisters, ask questions, but guard your heart. Seek understanding, but protect your trust. Because the questions that are meant for you will always bring you closer to Allah. And the ones that pull you away were never meant to be answered. They were meant to be resisted. My brothers and sisters, one of the greatest misunderstandings of our time is the belief that guidance is something a person earns by being clever, outspoken, or victorious in debate, when in reality, guidance is a gift that Allah places gently into the heart of the one who is ready to receive it. Guidance does not enter the heart that is busy trying to win arguments. It enters the heart that is willing to surrender. Many people think that if they just ask enough questions, challenge enough ideas, and prove themselves intelligent enough, truth will eventually submit to them, but it does not work that way. Truth does not bend to ego. Truth humbles the one who approaches it sincerely. Guidance is not a reward for intellectual dominance, it is mercy for humility. This is why you will often find that the people who argue the most feel the least peace. They may sound confident, but inside they are restless. They may appear knowledgeable, but their hearts feel empty. Winning arguments feeds the ego for a moment, but it never feeds the soul. Only submission does that. Allah does not guide the loudest voice in the room, He guides the softest heart. There are people who know many answers but lack guidance. And there are people who know very little yet walk with deep certainty. Because guidance is not about information alone, it is about readiness. A heart filled with pride has no space for guidance. A heart filled with sincerity becomes a home for it. This is why guidance often comes quietly. It does not announce itself with drama or debate. It settles gently into the heart during moments of humility, struggle, repentance, and silence. Sometimes guidance comes when you are broken, not when you feel strong. Sometimes it comes when you stop demanding answers and start trusting Allah's wisdom. Many people lose guidance not because they were misguided, but because they became argumentative. They confused questioning with growth and debate with depth. Over time, their hearts hardened, not because truth was unclear, but because humility was lost. Allah is not impressed by how well you argue for faith. He looks at how deeply you live it. This is why the most guided people are often those who speak less and reflect more, who argue less and worship more, who explain less and submit more. Another painful reality is that guidance cannot be forced, not onto others and not even onto yourself. You can expose yourself to knowledge, reminders and answers, but until the heart is ready, guidance will not settle. This is why trying to win someone into faith rarely works. You may defeat them intellectually, but their heart remains unchanged. Guidance is not a debate prize to be claimed by logic. It is a divine light placed by Allah into a heart that chooses humility. And when Allah places guidance into a heart, it transforms the person quietly but deeply. Their priorities change, their reactions soften, their patience grows, their reliance on Allah increases. They stop needing to prove themselves. They stop being disturbed by unanswered questions. They stop chasing validation from arguments. They begin to feel peace even in uncertainty. because they trust the one who knows all answers. This is a sign of true guidance, not the absence of questions, but the presence of trust. A guided person does not need to understand everything to obey. They understand enough to trust Allah. They accept that some wisdom will remain hidden, some answers will come later, and some realities are beyond human grasp, and this acceptance brings peace that debate never can. When a person reaches this level, they no longer feel threatened by questions or shaken by doubts because their faith is rooted in relationship, not argument. They know Allah, not just ideas about Him. They have tasted reliance, not just explanations. This is why guidance protects the heart even when the mind is confused. It anchors the soul during uncertainty. It keeps the believer grounded when questions arise. And when guidance is present, even silence becomes comforting. Even unanswered questions feel safe in Allah's care. So my brothers and sisters, stop treating guidance like something to be conquered. Stop exhausting your heart trying to prove yourself right. Instead, soften your heart, humble your soul, and ask Allah sincerely for guidance, not as a reward for intelligence, but as a gift of mercy. Because guidance is not won by those who argue the most. It is given to those who submit the most. And when Allah gives guidance, no question can take it away. My brothers and sisters, after all these reminders, remember this one truth and carry it with you. Not every question is meant to be answered. And not every silence is ignorance. Some questions are tests of intention. Some are distractions from obedience. And some are simply doors you were never meant to open. Allah does not measure your faith by how many arguments you win, but by how sincerely you submit when the truth becomes clear. A heart that trusts Allah does not panic over unanswered questions because it knows that the one who holds the answers also holds the heart. When you stop demanding explanations for everything and start placing your trust in Allah, something beautiful happens. Peace enters your life. You begin to worship with calm, live with purpose, and walk with certainty even when you do not understand every step. So protect your iman,